Welcome to the Serenade of the Seas. Hey everyone, I'm Patrick from Oakland Travel, and it's June of 2023, and we're on embarkation day of a little 5-night cruise, and we're going down to the R Bar. Only problem is I went down too far. I went down to deck 3 because at this point in the cruise we were still learning the layout, and Maria was like, we're supposed to be on deck 4. So I had to go back up to deck 4 to get to the R Bar. And one of the few times that we went to the R Bar, because it just, we ended up, the schooner bar became our thing. The schooner bar is bigger. We learned over the course of the cruise that the bartenders were just a little bit better. They're a little faster. I don't know. It wasn't that we had a bad experience at the R Bar. It just seemed like it was understaffed. And there were a lot of instances where, like you'll see here in a second, there are only 2 bartenders back here for the majority of the time we're here waiting to get a drink. The bar is big enough, it just seemed like there should have been a third one. There is a third guy back there, but he's not really like doing bartender stuff. He's doing like stocking, and like he goes off and he does something else. And we saw this other times during the cruise. It just there were just times where the R Bar just seemed like it was a little understaffed. So just kind of one of those things. I might be wrong. I don't know. The schooner bar just kind of turned out to be the one for us. We typically find a bar that we like whenever we start a new cruise, almost regardless of which ship it is, even if we've been on the ship before, because the crew members change and the situation's changed, and we end up finding the bar that we like. It's kind of, and then we just kind of go back to that bar most of the time if we're in the area of that part of the ship or whatever. And this seating down here is very limited. And the interesting thing about this centrum area is, especially right here on this deck, is that, this is where all the stuff happens. The entertainment's down here, dancing, various events or whatever. There's not a lot of seating down here. So it becomes very, very quickly kind of a first come, first serve in terms of like if something's going on. And so that was another thing that kind of, went against the grain in terms of going down here to the R Bar quite a bit. So a lot of times for the events, we would end up being on the deck above or a couple of decks above where we could just look down and watch whatever was going on down here, because this area would just fill up so quickly. But the bartenders were great. It just at times seemed like there should have been more of them. And a nice little menu. Each one of these bars on the Royal Caribbean ships, they have their own sort of customized menu. And we learned a couple of times throughout this cruise on the Serenade that if you go to one of the other bars and you ask the bartender there to make a drink that's on a different menu from like a different bar, right, that they don't always know how to do it. Like, for instance, there was a menu item on the schooner bar's menu list, and we went to Vintages, which is the wine bar, and we asked them, hey, can you make X? And the guy basically didn't know how to make it. And I ended up having to just kind of settle for something that was on their menu because that's just what they're used to. So not that big a deal. And you see some drinks that are sort of universal to all of the menus. You kind of see them all over the place. The Planter's Punch, I'm forgetting some of the names, but they're very, very common drinks that you see at every bar. And then you see, of course, the menu of the specialty drinks at that particular bar. But this is the R Bar on the Serenade of the Seas, embarkation day around about 1:45. We're just about ready to go to the stateroom and get access to where we can, put everything away.